Let's talk about the most powerful 22 long rifle ammo that there is in all of existence. The whole great wide world, the most powerful 22 long rifle ammo you can get. This stuff is great. I'm a big fan of it now. We've tested it on velocity and penetration through a few different guns. I'm completely impressed. A little bit blown away, at least a little bit. And this is the ammo that I'm recommending to all of my buddies and pals who use their 22 long rifle for a whole lot of anything, really. I'm Jordy Buck, and this is Michigan Sharpshooters, helping you become well regulated, so together we can preserve our freedoms. Now what I'm talking about is the Aguilla Interceptors, the Aguilla 22 long rifle 40 grain hollow points, the Aguilla Interceptors. The stated box velocity is 1,470 feet per second. Now, out of my 1022, they weren't going quite that fast. I was a little disappointed. I've heard of some guys getting within 5 feet per second of the stated velocity of these Interceptors with their 1022s. I didn't get that. Strats. I guess my 1022 is a little bit on the slower side. But with my 1022, it's just my stock, other than I free-floated the barrel and put tech sights on it. With my basic 1022, I was getting just under 1,400 feet per second. 1,382 feet per second was my average for 20 shots. And that's pretty good for a 20 shot average. The velocities varied a little bit between shots. Actually, they varied about the same as most other 22 long rifle ammo did. I was a little let down with that because I had heard that the Aguilla Interceptors were really loaded to a higher standard. Most Aguilla ammunition, period, it seems to be loaded to a slightly higher standard than at least the cheap stuff. Now, when I fired them out of my Glock, this is actually my mother's Glock 44, the new Glock 22 pistol. I had a lot more consistent results when I fired them through the Glock. Actually, every bullet was within 25 feet per second. So I suppose kudos to Glock for making a pistol that's actually a little bit more consistent, which is a brand new thing for them. The velocities of the Interceptors out of the Glock was just over 1050. 1,052 feet per second was my average. And that's with their teeny, itty bitty, little bitty, teeny barrel. Now, my Heritage Rough Rider with a 6-inch barrel, I would have thought that 6-inch barrel would have gotten more velocity, probably closer to 1250. That's what I was hoping. Well, that didn't happen. The Rough Rider with a 6-inch barrel actually got slightly less velocity on average than this itty bitty barrel Glock 44 pistol. I was a little bit upset about that. Now, they're real close. I mean, the Rough Rider got on average 1048 and the Glock on average got 1052. So they're pretty much the same. But I was just hoping for a little more out of that 6-inch barrel. Still, both of those at about 1,050 feet per second were only 50 feet per second slower than what the standard velocity 22 ammo does out of my 1022. So by putting the Interceptor hollow points in either of these pistols, it shot within the same margin as my 1022 rifle does with standard ammo. If you're going to be using a 22 pistol for anything more than target shooting, for any type of small game use, or even potentially defensive use, this is the ammo you should definitely get. Nothing seems to come close to it as far as power and penetration, the ability to cause vascular damage for a 22 long rifle. These are the best bullets you can get. One of the things that I care about here in Michigan Sharpshooters is accuracy. The accuracy of this ammo wasn't quite what I expected, what I really hoped for anyway. Most Aguilla ammunition shoots a slight notch above everything else that's in the stores as far as accuracy goes. The Aguilla Super Extras, they shoot a little better than, even their bulk box shoots a little better than all the other cheap value bulk 22 long rifle ammo. Now, these shot worse accuracy out of all the three guns with these was in the 1022. And that's, I mean, I got the barrel free floated, it's bedded up in here. It's a fairly accurate 1022. But these just, and with the velocity too, they had a wide extreme spread. much wider than with my pistols. And I think that had to do possibly more with, since it's a more potent ammo, perhaps, just me thinking, that sometimes the bolt was opening just a little too soon on this rifle with that hotter ammo, and that is a distinct possibility. I didn't see anything like that with the Glock. In fact, the Glock only had a 25 feet per second spread, extreme spread between all the rounds that we fired through it. They were all very consistent on their velocity and fairly good on their accuracy. This was the best, probably about the best ammunition for accuracy and for reliability out of the Glock 44. I was slightly curious about how this would perform out of the Glock. Well, I was very curious. This has a flat-nosed hollow point, kind of like the Winchester ammo that comes in it's like a little white box with 330 rounds just thrown in there. It's the little hollow points. They kind of got a flat hollow point. I know a lot of guys have had trouble with those in their Glock 44s. Just trouble feeding them. And they were theorizing that maybe that flat nose on the hollow point just kind of gets caught up at times. Well, that's very similar to the same flat nose on the Interceptors, but they fed and functioned flawlessly. Totally flawlessly. Not one issue. I would highly recommend them for any type of use when you're talking a semi-auto, but particularly out of the Glock 44, because that's what I was trying here. They work very well. Combine that with the priming materials that Aguilla uses. They have really, really reliable primers. Probably about the most reliable in the industry for 22 long rifle primers is from Aguilla. So if you want something that's just the most reliable 22 long rifle ammo, I'd probably go with those. Just on that factor alone. But now let's get into some penetration issues. I did some penetration testing on a hog. I butchered a hog a few days ago, hoisted it up on a chain, and before we skinned it and gutted it, I put a few rounds through my 1022 in it from the Interceptors. I'm impressed with what they did. I was quite impressed. Those little bitty, I gotta keep getting my hands on them, I like these things. Little bitty, 40 grain, 22 caliber bullets. Little itty bitty bitties. That little 40 grain bullet was enough to shatter the shoulder on a 150 pound hog. Now, it wasn't like the entire shoulder blade, right in the ball. It actually shattered the ball joint on the shoulder, kept going, and it stopped just shy of exiting the other side of the shoulder. Didn't hit any other bones on that side though. But still, that's impressive. That's a very heavy bone that it went right through. The bullet didn't fall apart. It stayed together somehow. And it kept going in a nice straight line about 13 inches, 14 inches deep total after it went through the bone. I'm shocked and impressed. The second bullet that I fired so that it wouldn't hit those heavy bones. And, well, it didn't hit the heavy bones, but at about 3 inches in, it had a 3-inch wide wound cavity. About a 3-inch circle of just tissue blown apart. After that, it was a 1/2-inch hole right up until it went through the spine. The bullet went right through the spine, kept going about another 6 inches, and stopped in the side of the neck. So all in all, both of these bullets penetrated a total of about 13 inches and went through a heavy bone. I'm impressed by that. The bullets both stayed together. They didn't fragment or chip away. They're both 99% intact, and they expanded well. If you're looking for the most powerful ammunition you can get, that's definitely the Aguilla Interceptors here. Don't consider, the 22 Stingers from CCI. They're great for varmint hunting, but for anything bigger than that, they're not good. If you're talking possible defensive use, which is what I'm getting at with this part, the only 22 long rifle ammo that you should really consider, if you were going to consider any 22 long rifle for defensive use, which I don't recommend, but the best one to use would be the Aguilla Interceptors, because they have the excuse me, I need a little coffee. It's a little late tonight. So So the 22 Interceptors from Aguilla, they have the best overall vascular damage, the largest wound size overall. They penetrate well. They don't make a huge wound. The bullet hole from these bullets, and they seem to expand well after going in about 2 to 3 inches. They seem to expand completely. That's just based on the size of the wound channel. The wound channel was about the same size that I see from a 9mm full metal jacket. Not as long of a wound channel, but about as fat of a wound channel. So to give you some basic idea, about as fat of a wound channel as a 9mm, but only about half or a little under half as much total penetration as those. So they don't. It's a 22, but if you want the most powerful 22 ammo you can get, it's the Aguilla Interceptors. You can't get one that has a better wounding effect or that has a better combination of penetration and expansion, which is the big deal. I mean, the CCI Stingers, they expand right away and they basically just blow up. They're designed for a lightweight varmint round. They're lightweight, they're fast, they're supposed to fragment in 1 inch or less of tissue. So something like a prairie dog, you go just 1 inch in and they're already fragmenting up, and they cause a nice large wound channel, but they don't penetrate at all. So these ones, because they create more of a medium-sized wound channel and penetrate much deeper, they cause more overall damage, which is good. If you're looking for something defensive use or for small game, these are great for coyotes, they're great for raccoons, great for anything. Accuracy isn't bad. They're not the most accurate bullets I've fired, but they're not too bad. Well, that's what I have for you today, folks, on the most powerful 22 long rifle ammo, my comprehensive review of the Aguilla Interceptors. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it and got something useful out of this, I'd appreciate it if you click the like button. And if you care to, you can check out my other videos and see if any of them are just as cool as this one. Thanks. Bye now.